Okay, so it looks like I'm back now, hopefully. Let's see, I'm going to let it load up the video, see what it does. Okay, so let's bring it back to the gameplay here. See what it's doing, and it doesn't look like it's actually doing anything for me. I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not due to... Okay, there we go. It is playing the video. I don't know. The video looks to be laggy on my end. I don't know, guys. I keep dropping frames, and I'm not sure why. I shouldn't be dropping frames. I'm dropping frames like crazy right now. And again, I do apologize for that. We may have to reschedule this podcast until like next week or something, because it looks like I'm going to continue to just drop a lot of frames. I'm already up to over 1,000 drop frames, and I have no idea why it's dropping these frames right now. Let's see. Yeah, it definitely looks like I'm losing video, and I don't know why. Let me see if I can't refresh this. Okay, let me try. Whoops. Let me try refreshing my my capture card. Again, I do apologize. This was definitely not my plan. I mean, I'm almost up to 2,000 drop frames, guys. So what I'm going to do is we're going to reschedule this. So if you're still here, if you're listening, Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, Frontline will be streamed. Hopefully, I'll get this drop frame issue figured out, tonight. Oh wait, never mind. Okay, never mind. It's back now. So we're back now. I apologize. I thought that we were gonna. I wasn't sure what was going on. I just saw frames dropping like crazy. So we're back now. If you're just joining, you didn't miss too much. I wasn't talking about too much, but yeah. So the current state of leagues and feds, and unfortunately I don't think this one's going to be able to go onto YouTube because I split it up into 2 parts. So that is definitely unfortunate. But that's okay. And now I'm losing a crap ton of frames again. I'm not really sure what's going on here. Okay, it's doing it, but the video is like horribly I'm not sure if the video is horribly choppy or what, but anyway, so what I think the future is of leagues and feds, I know I've been trying to get to this question, but I firmly believe the future of leagues and feds solely lies on the owners. Like I was saying, I mean, there's so many of them. There's so many choices out there for people to get into a certain league or a certain fed, and Christopher Billings did a nice write-up about this. For those of you who don't know who Christopher Billings is, he's the voice of the power plant. He's the commentator, the one-man commentating machine. But he did a nice write-up about this, about people, why there's so many people in leagues and feds that don't have, a place. They don't have a place that they can call home. And in large fault, that happens because, the Fed owner themselves ends up being a dingle and just shutting down. And that happens a lot. It happens almost every day. Leagues and Feds close their doors and they're like, nope, no more. We're not going to do it anymore. And unfortunately, that is kind of the way the world works. I mean, one day business here, the next day it's not. It's just the way it works. You don't have any control over that. And so what I noticed in this write-up was that, Billings was saying, hey, show loyalty to the place that you're at, because believe it or not, it will work to your advantage. It may take a while, believe that. It may take a while, because not everybody's going to jump on you helping them. But that's understandable. I mean, sometimes it's going to take a little bit of time to get notoriety, and it happens. It really does. But as long as you keep pushing forward and keep believing, and saying to yourself, I can do this. I know this because I like this place, and it comes down to a loyalty aspect. And the reason why I say this is because in this write-up we were talking about why there were so many people in the free agency looking for leagues. And I don't like using this term because I think it's very mean and it's very insulting to the conf-fed person. But, they kind of get called league whores or league hoppers. And I hate saying it like that, but it kind of has a little form of truth to it. because there are a lot of people that jump around to numerous different places. Either they don't get what they wanted in the first place, so they go to the second place, and they try to use that as leverage with the first place. Say, well, this place is offering me this. Unfortunately, most league-fed owners don't give a damn about the other leagues. It's just the way it is. They don't care. And it's unfortunate, but people do, look at things like that. They're like, I don't care. I don't care if you're going to be there. I don't care if you're going to be here, whatever. That's the way it is. Most league and fed owners don't care. But loyalty, like I was saying, loyalty is a big deal. It's very important to be loyal to the place that you're in. And I say this because I'll use real life examples here. The most highly noted one, of course, is Craig Hazard. That guy, he was with me when I was doing 5-Star Championship Wrestling with Nash from the Wolfpack Clan. We were like, oh, let's do the Sim League thing, and he found Nash found Craig Hazard, and he found John Russell's, and they came in, and me and Nash were kind of not feeling doing 5-Star Championship Wrestling anymore, and I didn't want to lose these two guys, right? So I was like, well, what would you guys think about coming over to the power plant? And they both came over and had spectacular matches, and that was back when SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 first came out, maybe at the end of 2010. I'm not 100% sure when it was. Don't quote me on the date. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, I almost thought my Xbox froze for a second, but yeah. So I would say loyalty definitely pays off. I mean, yes, Craig Hazard had to wait a very long time to finally get that big title opportunity, and that title honestly should have been around his waist back in 2011. Maybe 2012 at the latest, but he should have gotten the title a lot sooner than he did. And that's my fault. That is my fault, bad booking on my part. And hopefully, if Craig ever watches this, hopefully he realizes that I hope I've rectified my error. I hope I've made him okay now, because there's nobody we would rather have as the TPP champion. And I think he's a very deserving champion, regardless of what anybody says, and nobody can really say any different, because he's always been there. He's always been there for us, and he's never left me hanging. He's never left me high and dry, and that's very important. And he always does what's right for the show, and I talked about that on last week's podcast too. When you got to do what's right for your show, and I have personally, I've messed up personally. We all know this. I've signed some pretty bad people. I've signed good people. It's just there's so many variations of people, that I've worked with, and it's unfortunate that not everybody was always looking, for the best interest, and that still branches back to why there's so many free agents. I look on my Twitter, and there's so many guys that are still looking for leagues or looking for feds. And I wonder, I always think to myself, well, how many leagues have they been in? How much experience do they have? Or what leagues they've been in? And it's unfortunate, but a lot of league owners and a lot of Fed owners look at the people you were associated with, and they'll either blacklist you or put you in this specific group. And I know I've done that before. I have personally. But when I do it, it's only because I had I had some type of interaction with you before. So I know exactly what I'm expecting, and I would love for you to prove me wrong. I really wish that you would prove me wrong and be like, I'm not like that. And I can show you that I'm not like that. I wish that people would do that and be like, I'm not like that, see? But even if they were associated with a group of people that I maybe didn't agree with, I still give them an opportunity to go out there and prove what they can do, I always try to give everybody an opportunity, no matter what. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, But, that's one thing. So loyalty is a big thing. For me personally, I don't care if somebody's in 10 different leagues and then they still want to be in the power plant as well. But my only requirement is you need to show up for your TPP stuff. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to give you a freebie every single week. It just doesn't happen like that. I mean, I'll give a couple of freebies, if you get busy, things like that. And most notably for that, I hate saying this, but Frankie Flo, the guy at the time was in NGC, and he came to me. He's like, "Well, I hear you're bringing the power plant back. I'd like to be a part of it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Didn't think anything of it. Well, Frankie Flo kind of stopped showing up, for that last month, so we had to let him go. We didn't have anywhere to book him, and so we had to let him go. I've got nothing against Cody or Frankie Flo, Frank Elberdine, Elberdine or whatever. It's just one of those things. I mean, he was a nice guy, a very nice kid, very respectful to people. But unfortunately, that was one of those situations where his loyalty wasn't to us. He was just there to be there, and that's not what league and Fed owners want. They aren't just looking for that number of superstars. They're looking for somebody that's able to, help out and help the show grow. And, sometimes you get people that are like a diamond in the rough. And like Craig Hazard is one of those people. Damian Gamer's one of those people. Titan, he's one of those people. It's just people that help out the show are the people that leagues want. Those are the type of people that league and Fed owners want. They want people that not only are willing to do what's best for the show, but if they need to, they will help out. And people like Orion James, fill in for other people. That's when it's good. And if you can fill in for somebody and still make it look good, that is when you are a very, very sought after person. That's somebody that I would love to have. Somebody that could still make the other person look good, even if they're just filling in. Because in all honesty, people get pretty angry when they got to fill in for somebody, whether they say it or not, because it's not their job to fill in for somebody. That's just not the way it is. You agreed to be able to participate, and if you're not able to participate, well, poo-poo on you, I suppose. But back to what I was talking about, like the loyalty. If you are going to be loyal to a league or a Fed, I've never been one to say, hey, you've got to say this or you've got to say that. I've never been one to say that, like in your bio or when you apply other places. But please don't completely disacknowledge me. And that goes out to anybody who's ever worked with me. I mean, people sometimes think that it's very taboo to work with me, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't understand why it's so taboo. Is it because I upload a weekly show or what? I mean, I don't know. Is it because I would say the Power Plant is the one weekly show that is online. I see a lot of weekly shows that are offline, and I speak from experience. I mean, the offline shows, yeah, they're hard. They're hard to do. But the online shows, that's when it's a real pain in the ass because you got people that, are late and things like that. And again, I would say that I think maybe that's why I'm taboo is because I continue to run the online portion of it, and I do it every week, and then we picked up doing the podcast, and then we picked up, we're starting up our developmental show in like a week and a half. And then we started the Live Warrior thing yesterday. That's like 4 videos a week, that we're doing. And as you see, the current score 1-2 in the first 18 minutes of this Iron Man match between Orton and Miz. But maybe that's why. Maybe that's why people think it's taboo to mention that they worked with me. I don't know. A lot of people have weird ideas and opinions. I don't know. It is what it is. But I won't say that they're in the wrong. I mean, somebody asked me on Ask FM yesterday who my favorite wrestler in CAW was, and I couldn't give him my number one favorite because I don't have a number one favorite, and that's just the way it is. I don't have if I had a number one favorite, then I would have just said who it was. But he said my number one favorite person in CAW outside of TPP guys or myself. And so I gave my top 10. That's what I did. I gave my top 10. And I mentioned people that I don't work with anymore. I mentioned like Monroe and Virtue and stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm not friends with Monroe anymore. I mean, yeah, but when we had really good matches. I don't know why me and Monroe aren't friends, but when we had good matches. And I still, to this day, have really good matches with Nick Virtue. I mean, most of them don't get recorded, but I still have really good matches with him. I have a video that I need to upload with, Virtue, but I haven't uploaded it yet. I'll get around to it eventually. And it's just things like that. I mean, I've worked with a lot of people, and my top 10 is very very roomy, and it even had new people that I've just recently started working with, and that was just based on the matches I was having with those people. That's why I gave it, the spot I did on my top 10. And I even had a competitive person that's known to noob people on there, but I can get him to sim. That's the thing. Like, everybody says he's a noob and that he noobs people, but when I get in a match with him, I could get him to sim. I'd be like, nah, that ain't happening. We're gonna do this, and he'll be like, okay. And that's just the way it is. It's a respect thing, You don't sit there and try to badmouth other people. You handle your business. That's the way it is. And so for Rebel, I have I know that I have friends that don't like Rebel. It's just the way it is. But I'm friends with Rebel. I'm friends with Rebel and friends with those friends. So, they understand that I'm Rebel's friend, and Rebel understands that I'm their friend. And that's just the way it is. If they say something they don't want the other to hear, they don't say it to me. That's just the way it is. And, that's just, again, that goes to the loyalty thing. I've known Rebel for 3 years now, and we met in a competitive match, and it's branched off of that. We're still pretty good friends. He's never been removed from my friends list or anything, and I think that's pretty good. But like I was saying earlier, the league hopping thing, show loyalty to the place that you're in. I'm not saying you gotta go out and spam other leagues' videos and say, hey, check out this place. I'm saying, do the best you can for the show that you're on, or make the best of your situation. Because although right now you may not be getting some title matches, or you may not be getting the storyline that you want, it may not be just because the league owner is an a-hole. That may not be the only reason. It may be because, he's just got other things going on right now. It's very possible. But if you stick it out and you show that you can do good, if you're having these lower card matches and they're looking better than the main event, if the league owner after a month doesn't realize that your matches are spectacular compared to what his main event is bringing, then at that point I could say, you know what, maybe you should go find a different league, because evidently they're too pig-headed or stupid to realize that, and I use this term loosely, but you're the future of their league, and I'm not saying that to hurt anybody's feelings or to be insultive, but I've seen it happen. I've seen these people that put on these lower card matches that are phenomenal. Meanwhile, their upper card stuff, their co-main events or main events and like their middle of the card matches are like subpar. They're not even really on par. And their first and second matches of the night are these spectacular matches that just look beautiful. And you're just like, why isn't this person in the main event? Why is that person in the main event? And it happens. But everybody and their mom wants to be this high flyer. And honestly, usually in the main event, you don't see too many high flyers in it. You see more of the bigger guys, like Triple H or like The Rock-sized or Stone Cold. CM Punk, he's a smaller guy, like 220 some odd pounds, but the main event is usually built of the bigger guys, other than like TNA and stuff. But I'm speaking just on a WWE term, because it's just the way that people are programmed to like wrestling, is to like the bigger guys, to watch the bigger guys. And I will answer questions if you want to ask questions. All you got to do is you can tweet it to me on Twitter, or you can ask it in the Twitch chat box, and I'll do my best to answer the question. It does take me a couple minutes before I see it, but I will do my best to answer it. And now I'll be able to see your question if you post a question. So if you want to ask a question, go ahead and ask. While we're at about the 37-minute mark of this Iron Man, so that means we've got about 30 minutes left on this podcast. And this is why I do the hour-long Iron Man. It gives me a perfect note of how long these podcasts should be. 1 hour and nothing more. I mean, I know we had a little bit of problem at the beginning there, but that's okay. And then, like Billings was saying, besides hopping around to other leagues and clans, another big thing I've noticed is people will join a certain league or a fed, and they'll intentionally break the rules. They'll intentionally run spam or do something that they shouldn't be doing, and they know they shouldn't be doing it as long as they read the rules or the requirements. And it's like a double-edged sword, because sometimes they don't really realize what they're doing is wrong until it's too late, or they're doing it just to make everybody else mad. And so they may get let go when they honestly didn't really realize what they were doing was wrong. Maybe they didn't, if it's a simulation league, maybe they don't fully grasp the concept. And do I have any tips for new offline CAW league owners? I do. I did a video a couple of weeks ago on my other YouTube channel that talked about how to be a good league and Fed owner. But that was for, online leagues and stuff. What I would recommend for, offline leagues and Feds, get really good with the roster you want to have before, you start putting out the content you want to put out. Make sure you have a good, solid roster. Because with the offline stuff, like I was saying earlier, it's still hard work. It's very hard. But with the offline leagues and Feds, you're able to do a lot more. You can get the camera a lot closer to the face during the match, and you can do like those close-ups when they got like this submission hold here. You could do, on this surfboard stretch here, you could have it zoom in on Orton's face there while he's wrenching away. But I would say definitely get your roster figured out. You want to the way I would do it if I was doing an offline league, I would want at least 5 main eventers. So that if there was a title that was going to be circulated, it would be able to be circulated through storylines. Mid-card, I would say between 7 and 10. Lower card enhancement talent, the jobber kind of guys, put other people over, I would say at least 10, if not more. That would give you a roster if you went to the max. Let's say 10, 10, and 5. That's 25 people on your roster. That's half your create a superstar slots. And then you might want to start building backstories for each person, because if you don't have backstories, then you kind of have to try to make them up on the fly, and sometimes you forget what you said before if you're going to do commentary. Also, have an idea of how long you want your show to be and how much content you want to put into it, how many matches you want on each show. Just general basic things like that. When I first started the online league scene stuff with the power plan, I was just booking like 10 matches per show, and we just put the best ones up on YouTube, and that just didn't work. People wanted to see like a full show with the storyline and stuff. So when we started doing the storylines into it, it started getting better and better, and then the shows just started kind of coming into their own. And one thing I would recommend is, if you're gonna do like promos, have real voiceovers. There's a lot of free audio editing programs, and all you need is just a little tool called Pitch Shift, and that's in every audio editing program available. You're able to edit the tone of your voice, which usually you can go from anywhere from 12 semitones positive to negative 24 semitones, and you have the upwards of 36 different voice variations you can have. Myself personally, my voice is very monotonic. So it makes my voice sound kind of weird when I do stuff. I'm like, I try my best. I don't have a very high-pitched voice, but I do voice. I think we figured it out. I voice 6 people in the power plant, not counting commentary. So I do 6 separate voices, and 7 counting commentary, according to our last count. So it's very possible as a one-man show to do that stuff. It just takes a little bit of work. Or you can always hit up, the WWE Games forums. There's tons of people on there that would love to, even if they're just doing a voiceover or contributing a CAW to your show, or something of that nature. You would be surprised. And if you're using actual WWE superstars, then what I would recommend is get good with an audio editing program and go watch some YouTube promos, let's use Randy Orton as an example. The many times that he's spoken on the mic, you can cut and clip stuff together and make a full promo with it. You really could. Randy Orton's full of one-liners, so his is really easy to do. If you were doing it with like Triple H or like The Rock, especially with The Rock, that'd be harder to do. Sometimes he says different verbiage and in different context. But for like Randy Orton, it'd be pretty easy to do that. You could just be like, oh, hey, well, cut all this together, and all of a sudden I make a cool promo like Randy Orton. Something like that. It's very doable in that sense. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. And then another tip, the biggest tip of all, don't give up. It may seem like it's the end of the world if you can't get something to go your way, but there's always a way to make it work. If there's a certain angle you can't get to look the way you want it to look, or work the way you want it to work, don't rack your brain on it. Just move on to something else and come back to it, or go take a break, come back a few minutes later. You'll get it all taken care of, and you'll get that angle to come out the right way, and everybody will be like, "Oh my God, it looks so amazingly awesome," But yeah, I hope that answered your question. And that's kind of like with the online league stuff too, because I've never been one to do a whole lot of fancy editing. I'm usually a kind of a cut and edit guy. I like when it comes to promo packages, the videos that I do are never going to be the best. I'll never claim that. I know it because I know that I'm not that good at doing video packages. But audio cuts are usually really good because, I'm a musician and audio levels for me are the most important. But I know that video parts are very important. And there's plenty of leagues that have amazing transitions, and they got these amazing camera angles and stuff, even for like online leagues and feds. But for me personally, doing it online, with me doing my show every single week, it's a little some of those smaller details I can't always give 100% detail to, for the simple fact that we get busy. We go from one show to the next, literally one show right after another. That's what we do. And some people think that's a bad thing. They're like, well, you don't have enough time to work on your show, or you should have done this instead of this, and this instead of this. Unfortunately, with our time constraints, we have to do the best we can in the time frame that we do have. And I think, and I speak for everybody that's wrestled in the power plant before, or currently, with the exception of a very few people, they put the blood, sweat, and tears into it almost just as much as I do. The biggest difference is, I'm the one that edits the show and uploads it and does that commentary and stuff. But they still go out there and they put their best foot forward in their matches. And it's like that catch-22, the double-edged sword. It's tough because you can be this phenomenally gifted simmer, and sometimes that isn't appreciated, and it ends up being you become guilty by association. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way life works. People tend to, if you're associated with somebody certain, then you're just automatically a bad person. And that's not true. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. That's the way life works, and that's how people think, that we don't have a way around that. And if we did, then we wouldn't have to worry about, any of these minuscule small things. We would all be able to get along, but nobody wants to ever truly get along. It's just the way it is. And then I'm going to take a short little break here for just a couple of minutes so I can recatch my breath. I'm going to let the video keep playing, and I'm just going to play a little audio track. So I'll be back in just a moment. right, and we're and I'm back here. So I was just kind of clearing my throat, getting a drink, but yeah. So I guess back to what my original topic of discussion was, the future of leagues and feds, and why there's so many people in the free agency pool. Um, and then I think personally, there may be a lot of people, that are looking for colleagues and feds, like I was saying earlier, because things don't go their way at first, and so they want out. They don't want to be there anymore. They're like, no, I don't like it, and they're like, nope, 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 and that's just not you got to give it a fair chance. There's a lot of different places that have different structures for the way that you can get built up, and every place is going to be different. No two league or fed owners are ever going to be the same. And as you see, the score here is 9-6 with Orton in the lead by 3 pinfalls. But that was a nasty suplex there. But like I was saying, there's a lot of people that tend to give up too quick on a specific league or a specific fed. I've had people come into the power plant, and because things weren't going exactly how they wanted, they split the coop. They were like, nope, I don't want it. And I was like, are you sure? Because I think that I think you would really enjoy it. And they decided that just wasn't something they wanted. And then I turned around and saw them appear somewhere else like a week later, and then a week after that they appeared somewhere else. So I'm kind of, in that sense, I'm kind of glad that, they ended up choosing that they didn't want to be with the power plant, but it's unfortunate. But I don't control anybody. I don't, in technical terms, I'm no one's boss. I can't tell you who you can or cannot talk to. All I can ask is that, they're respectful to the people in the power plant when they're there, and that they give respect to everybody they come in contact with, because that's the most important part, is being respectful to one another. And I've lipped off to people before, and I'm sure everybody has at some point in time. But I try my best to be as respectful as I possibly can to those that I may come in contact with, because you never know. Someday you may need that person's help. Maybe someday they'll, really have your back on something, and you don't want it to just be a spiteful thing. But it does happen. I mean, it's just the way life is. And I'm hoping next week's podcast, I'm hoping I can have, some other league and fed owners, whether it's online leagues, offline leagues. I think that'd be really fun. And I'm always looking to expand my communications with the WWE games community. I don't say like just the CAW community, because there's a lot of great leagues out there that simulate what we should be seeing on WWE TV, and they're using it with the in-game superstars. So I have no, CAW leagues are cool, but it's fine if they use leagues that aren't CAWs, or if they're a league that doesn't specifically use CAWs. I have no qualm and no beef with that, no issue at all. And now Randy Orton taking a big advantage here, 10-6 over The Miz. I don't think The Miz is going to beat Orton here at Over the Limit in the 60-man Iron Man match. I guess I should have done it at maybe WrestleMania. Maybe Miz would have won. But, that's just kind of, for me, that's the way I look at it. I think of it like this. There's plenty of great league and fed owners and people in leagues and feds. They just need to get their niche, whether it's online, offline. And then there's a lot of free agents that are really good as well. And, just they need to find the league or the fed that they do the best in, because, it's hard. It's hard when you're the new guy. It's hard to be the new guy. It really is, especially when it's a league that's been around for a while, because you come in and everybody that's there, especially if you're coming in and you're getting like a push right away, they feel like they're being overlooked by this new guy, by the new kid, this new toy. And that's not always the case. Sometimes there's just that new guy comes in and he's got that look, he's got the gimmick, he has the ability, and the league owner knows where he should be booked. And unless it's intentional by the league owner, which usually I don't think it is, but usually I believe league owners try to be as unbiased as possible to all the wrestlers. But if you get that new guy in and your superstar, if you're a league owner and your superstars start feeling like, well, I'm being overshadowed by some guy that just came in a week ago, it's not that he doesn't enjoy having you on his show. He's just looking at that new guy as, I could do something really good with this new guy. And that doesn't mean for you to jump ship to a different league. That's not what that means. It just means just remind him of who you are. Show him in your matches what type of person you are, how great of an asset you are to have, how important it is for him to be booking you in these really important big matches. Let him know that. And that's all a league and Fed owner really needs. I mean, if they get mad at you for doing phenomenal in your matches, then there's something wrong with that league owner. There really is. And that's just kind of that's the breakdown for it. There's not too much else to really dive into when it comes to why there's so many free agents out there. It's just a lot of people get unhappy with how they're being booked, or they go somewhere and they're not getting booked instantly how they wanted to be booked, so they get mad. And then, they go jump to a different place and start moving around. And it looks like The Miz is starting to come back. He's at 7 now, maybe 8. No pinfall there. I got to refresh my capture card real quick. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it depends. There's a lot of varying factors. And the full Nelson, or the Miz, I can't even think what his finisher's called. But, okay, so now it's 8-12. 17 minutes remain. The final 5 minutes of this, I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to play that song. It's called No Tomorrow. It's a very awesome song. I just found it today. And it's a very awesome sounding song. But like I was saying, though, if you take the time to really try to make yourself excel, you can become, especially in the call world, I always use this as an example because somebody asked me on Twitter about this, and why I called it the AC Arthur's push on the Frontline website. The thing was, I mean, the Arthur's thing, like, everybody keeps asking about that, like they don't believe it or something. And the problem is, like, yes, currently AC Arthur's is one of the most popular guys in COD and stuff. Everybody loves him. That's great. That's cool. I don't have any problem with AC Arthur's, but when everybody keeps asking the exact same question to him or me, in regards to that, it kind of, if the time comes when me and AC Arthurs are sitting in a party talking, it's not going to be like, oh, hey, remember that one time when, it's going to be more like, dude, everybody keeps asking me, was AC Arthurs really in the power plant? It's like, yes, he was really in the power plant. Yes, he really had a feud with Brick Wall. It's just simplistic stuff like that. I mean, it was cool. He was a great guy to have there, and he's went on and he's doing his thing, and I'm glad that he won the NGC title, the last NGC champ. But, hopefully he does good in, PWR. Hopefully he does good there. If he doesn't, that's unfortunate, but I'm sure he will. Like I said, I don't really work with AC Arthurs anymore. I don't have any problem with them or anything. It's just we don't work together anymore. That's all it is. And yeah, that's pretty much how it is with anybody I've worked with in the past. If I don't work with them anymore, there's very select number of people that I don't work with anymore that I do not wish good things for. And that's a very slim and small list. And I think anybody and everybody could say the same thing about somebody. There's always going to be a certain amount of people that you just don't ever want to work with again. Just because maybe at the time your experience with them was really good, but then it turned into a big mess. And I talked about that on episode 3 on last week's podcast. I talked about how I was having this amazing program build. And it ended up being a travesty. It was a complete train wreck. Or I thought at the time it was a really good build, but it ended up not being. And that was my own fault, And I'll never, ever work with Zach Samaro ever again. He's one of those people that I think he stopped playing the WWE games, and it's not really a loss. I don't think anybody really lost anything. But I wouldn't say the same about Sinister Smiles or Damian Gamer. I wouldn't say the same thing about him because he would be a loss. He would be a huge loss, and a loss that I don't think I'd be able to recover from because he's had a very important impact on the way I do my bookings and everything like that. And there's a lot of guys I associate myself with in the power plant that I consider to be friends, not just online friends, but friends. People that I trust with with certain things. Like Sinister Smiles. I send him a Hot Hog, an HD PBR. And it's only, I didn't use it anymore, but I still send it to him. It's just things like that. Like there's the guys in TPP, I consider them friends, not just Xbox buds, but friends. I've sent stuff to Brick Wall in real life or DJM Echo, to Jordan Moore, who used to be in the power plant. And he was receiving funding from the TPP 2K channel. When before we separated from our contract. So it's just things like that. Like those are people I would consider to be my friends, not just online buddies. And that's where it really gets important because you have to be able to separate or realize who are if you're going to put the Xbox friends into the actual friends category, like you're going to do whatever you can, listen to them when they're in trouble and have them listen to you when you're in trouble or when you're down and out, things like that. You got to make sure that you know what you're doing and make sure, and as you saw there, Miz got backbreaker then RKO'd, and he's going to get 2 pins back to back there. Miz sucks in this game. But yeah, so it's kind of like that's what I'm getting at. If you're going to put people in the actual friends category, make sure that they're people that, you don't want to lose. Or if you lose them, try not to lose all your functions. And I think if me and Sinister Smiles were to stop being friends, I think the power plant would continue on. It just would continue on at a different beat, at a different pace. He's a very good guy. I love having him, helping me out with stuff. And he's one of the coolest guys I've met ever. And can't say that about a lot of people. But he's one of those people I can. And Miz trying to bring back this Iron Man match 10-14. He's within 4, but he always brings it back to 4, and then he loses. But as this is wrapping up, like I said, the final 5 minutes, I'm not gonna talk. I'm just gonna let you listen to that super cool song. So I got about 8 minutes left to talk, and not even 8 minutes, but yeah, about 7.5. But I guess to wrap it all up, if you listen to this and you are looking for a league or stuff like that, if you've been in leagues before, you should know this. Stay loyal to where you're at. If you get in somewhere, don't just bail because they say, well, we don't really want to book you into the main event. Unfortunately, not every wrestler in CAW is going to be main event material. It's just the way it is. Yeah, they may be able to to perform amazing. They may be able to do amazing things, but if you don't have the look or the gimmick for it, it's hard to really push you into the main event. Yes, all kinds of gimmicks can get pushed into the main event, and hold the title. It's very possible to do. Because honestly, people wouldn't have thought that Craig Hazard would have been the main event, but he is. But that's because his work ethic is amazing. And it was just a fact of, he never asked, he never begged, he just waited and waited and waited. He never cried, never complained. And so if you're sticking it out in a league right now and you're wondering to yourself, why am I not getting booked in the main event? Why am I not getting any titles around my waist? Why isn't this happening for me? Why isn't that happening for me? Maybe you should talk to the league or the Fed owner and say, hey, I was wondering, I've been with you guys for a while. I was wondering, could we do some type of storyline that maybe puts a little bit more spotlight on me, or if you're getting overshadowed, just be like, can we do something that maybe will get some more spotlight on me? Don't go to him and be like, I want more airtime or stuff like that. That's not the way to do it. Don't come to him cocky. Come to him humble, and as an honest inquiry. Like you're trying to benefit the show. because if you truly believe that you're doing that good, then he shouldn't have a problem saying, well, you are doing really good in your matches, so I don't see why we can't, put you in some better situations, get you some better matches, longer matches, things like that. And that primarily is just for the online portion of leagues and feds, because the online leagues and feds are the ones that do that, like that kind of booking. I mean, the offline leagues and the offline feds, they get to, kind of, it's a little bit easier because they get to push who they want to push. They can push them whenever they need to push them, things like that. And, it's just, again, it's kind of like that catch-22. And it's tough. I feel for a lot of those guys that are trying to get known. That's the thing. They're trying to get themselves out there, but it's tough because a lot of the call world, if that's what we're gonna call it, the call scene is it's kind of saturated, but it's not always saturated with the best of the best. And then I remember somebody asked, they were like, well, I keep seeing these league shows, I keep seeing these same faces and people on them. For those that are considered the best, I don't think they're the best, but they're good. They're pretty good. They're really good at it. But the way it breaks down is there's a very select few people. I'd say less than 100, definitely less than 100, that are really good at simming. And I would like to say I'm in that category, although some people don't agree. But I don't think that person that says that, I don't think they're that good of a simmer. So, it's whatever. But it's tough because, like I was saying, it's a very niche market because not everybody can sim. And so when somebody says, well, I keep seeing these same people appearing, it's because, there's a lot of people that are appearing in the same place or different places under the same name. It's just, that's the way that it works. That's the way life is. Nobody really has control over that. If they did, they wouldn't have to, they wouldn't have to worry about it. And unfortunately, that's just not the case. Because there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of people that work in multiple places or have worked in multiple places, and it may not just be their choice to do that, whether the league closed or let them go or whatever. But yeah, so people like Verdi, Scott Barnett, things like that. Like, yeah, when you see them in more than one place, it's not that they're all in these multiple shows. It's just some places close up, and then another place, when one place closes, another place opens. That's just the way it happens. And again, I just want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I know we had some problem at the beginning, so the upload to YouTube is definitely going to kind of cut in and out. I'll do my best. I didn't do the local recording, so I put it all together into one, unfortunately. But I will do my best. Some more guests on the next podcast. Like I said, I'm looking to try to get some other league and fed owners. So if you're interested, just tweet me on Twitter or, tweet me on Twitter. That'd be the best way to do it. I'm on that a lot. But yeah, so as this is wrapping up here, we got the final 6 minutes in this Ironman match, and Miz has just been getting slapped pillar to post here by Orton. 1, 2, 3, and Orton is up 17-10. He's up by 10 pinfalls over the Miz. They made the Miz suck so bad in this game, and I don't understand why. He's not a bad wrestler, and now we're gonna see Orton with another submission here. Nope, Miz got out, and but yeah. So I mean, like I said, thanks for joining me tonight, and the final 5 minutes, like I said, I'm gonna play that very awesome song for you guys. Because I like that song. It's a very cool song. But, thanks again for joining me tonight. I enjoy having you guys on here. Even if you end up watching it on YouTube, I still enjoy it. So I will see you guys on next week's show and all that good stuff. So take care, guys, and enjoy the